You know that's my jam for everybody tuning in. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Good morning. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is Morning Yo. Oh, this is my jam, dude. I love this song so much. Meredith, Petersen Jones, what's going on? How are you? Thanks for tuning in, Meredith. Every morning, 9 a.m. Every morning, 9 a.m. Oh, this is a breakdown. Bella ciao, bella ciao. Oh my God. Meredith is driving in pouring rain and listening to this show on Facebook Live. That's how dedicated the Morning Yo team is. That's just crazy. All right, if you don't know where that song is from, you got problems. You got problems. It's the best show on Netflix. Let me bring in my boy. Are you ready? Give me the thumbs up, Leo, if you're ready. All right, bringing in my boy right now, Leo Flowers. How are you, man? Hold on, let me add you. There you are. I can't hear you at all, Leo. I don't think your mic is working.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I got you. Now I got you.
Yeah. I
What's
feel
up, my
great,
man?
man. I drank my green smoothie this morning.
Okay.
I did my meditation, then I listened to that song you sent me about put on your sunscreen.
Baz Luhrmann, I tell everybody, if you ever need some motivation and just to reflect on life, Baz Luhrmann, Sunscreen, that was a song, like if you're around my age, it was around high school when you were graduating.
Yeah.
You know, but it has so many facts in it that now you look back on. Because when you first heard it, you're like, yeah, whatever. Now you listen to the song, you're like, oh shit. Like I recollect all that stuff. I remember all that stuff.
Especially when he talks about, like appreciate your body and then, use it every way you can. There's some days where you just don't want to get off the couch. But this morning I was doing my sun salutations.
There you go.
I got like 1,000 steps in. I feel great. Got the vitamin D.
Okay, so if this is your first time experiencing Leo Flowers, very funny comedian, but more than that, he's probably one of the most intelligent guys I know. That's why I like to have him on. He's a therapist. He's a comedian. He's also played football in college. But there's one other. Oh, he's a trainer. You're a trainer as well.
Personal trainer. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Personal trainer.
Yeah. You got to address the mind and the body. It's a 360. 360.
So for everybody watching right now, because this is building every day, this show is building more and more people. If you want to leave a comment, feel free, do so. We'll answer your question. Just going through some. Where did my Lionel Richie stash go? Okay. So here's the deal about the Lionel Richie stash. I had to do Joe Rogan yesterday, and Joe Rogan, I'm on his show today. It's going to air today. So I'm going back and forth. I'm like, look, I know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about my whole Corona thing in the hospital. Do I want to look silly with the stash, or do I want a serious conversation? Because it could go sideways. So it was a very funny podcast too, but a very serious one. I just didn't want the stash to power over the message that I was trying to get through. So the stash will be back. Go to my Instagram right now at Michael Yo. There's me side by sides. People are sending me side by sides with Lionel Richie. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Nicole, thank you for your comment.
Yeah, it's crazy. Also, it's crazy when you shave that stash off too. Like you feel like you lost about 10 pounds. Like you're like, I don't have to hit the gym. Like that was enough right there. That's good. I'm good right there.
Del Art, I see you. Congrats on beating the Rona. Loving the Jufro. Is this a Jufro? Am I allowed to even say Jufro?
I don't know, man. You might get canceled for that one. I don't know. That's dangerous territory right now.
I know. I'm kind of looking like Little Dicky. You know what I mean? I don't know. I love that show, by the way. If you haven't seen Little Dicky show, Dave,
hilarious
on FXX. It's incredible. All right, who we got here? Kerrigan Jim, I'm listening in our court, hearing in your cast at the same time. Wait, I'm so confused about that. I'm listening in our court.
I think they live in an apartment complex. You know how they have the court in the middle where people
Oh, the
can gather.
courtyard.
That's what that's what I think. Yeah. Unless
Okay,
he's in
dope.
court. He's in a court. No, he's a lawyer. I think he said in our court hearing. Oh, that's
wow.
Why are you in court and listening to a podcast? You're the worst lawyer.
Kerrigan, I definitely don't want you as my lawyer. He's not hearing nothing the judge says. Absolutely nothing.
He's real late with those. What is it called when they interrupt the
objections?
Objections, yeah.
The client's like, "Yo, dude, why didn't you object?" He says, "Hold on, man. Hold on. I'm listening to a podcast right now."
Oh man,
This is what I love.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No,
Lori's all up in there with their AirPods in right now. Like, you don't know if they're listening to you or the court case or the game. That is real disrespectful. I don't like it.
Jim Kerrigan looks at the dude. He's like, "It don't matter. You guilty. I ain't got nothing to do with you." All right. So Tammy Bruce says you finally shaved the porn stash. Yes, you could call it porn. My wife, the only reason I even started it because my wife loved it. She loved the stash.
Really?
Yeah. So
now, I mean, like, love it. Like, she liked to play with it, or she liked the look of it, or what? Like, what was the? Did she say what
shit.
the?
Hold on. He says, "Actually, don't post this. My boss listens to you." Sorry. So your name is not that. Your name is Lionel Richie. Just posted a comment.
Hilarious.
That's why social media get you in trouble, man. Social media will get you in trouble. Mr. Flowers, when did you know you were funny? Do you remember your first joke and in the moment you thought you'd become a full-time comedian?
Man, the first time, when did I know I was funny? You know, I think in college, I was that guy, like every Monday, all the dudes would gather around and hear my story shenanigans from the weekend. They'd be like, "Oh man, what did Leo get into?" And I think that was like when you start drawing an audience of football players, and because, you know, all football players are funny, man. Everybody cracking jokes. And I think that was the moment where I was like, I got something here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was just that young inception of like, just I started off the storytelling of like, you know, what my life was, you know, like over the weekend, and people just seem to gravitate towards that.
All right, Dell. And by the way, I know Dell when he lived, I believe, in Miami or Los Angeles. We lived close to each other, but he's one of the most incredible singers you will ever meet. Like Del Art, they called him Star. He goes by the artist name Star, but he's incredible. The dude is absolutely sick.
What kind of music is it? Is it R&B or what?
Soulful, man. It's hard to even put a label on it. It's just his voice is so good and soulful. You know what I mean? It's just so good. If you want to leave a comment, we'll answer your questions. Ask us anything right now. But Leo, I mean, welcome to the Morning Yo. It's this new thing I'm doing every morning at 9 a.m. It's been growing every single day. What are you getting into right now? What's on your mind? What have you been talking about?
My whole thing is about being anti-fragile. You know, you and I, we read a lot of books, and I just read and I seen Talib's book Anti-Fragile, and it's about how do you become stronger after adversity, right? Like a lot of people talking about going back to the new normal after this quarantine. I just want to get back to where it was. Like, I'm not trying to go back. Like, I'm trying to emerge from this. Like Moses with 2 tablets. Like I want to walk down from the mountain with knowledge and stronger and better. So I'm taking online ASL classes, online guitar lessons, online helicopter lessons. Like everything's about like when I emerge from this thing, I want to feel stronger, better. I want to hit the ground running, man. There's no days off.
I see you expanding in other areas, but this is one problem I'm having is my comedy really hasn't grown. Because I'm a type of guy, it's hard to just write and not perform. And so I don't want to say motivation. Motivation is not a problem. I think about concepts all the time. I write down bullet points, but I feel like my comedy is suffering because you can't really perform it to people. And you know me, I write on stage, so I need to be in front of a crowd. Has this slowed you down on the comedy side?
It hasn't slowed me down on the writing side, definitely on the comedy side. I mean, there's nothing that trumps being in front of an audience. Right. Like that at the end of the day, that's the test. But like I've been reading so much, listening to audiobooks, and And like I said, like, just still trying to find a way to, like, I'm coaching my clients all virtually, personal training, and then I'm life coaching. So I'm still talking to a lot of people. I'm still getting in a lot of stories. There's still a lot of human interaction. So, through reading, through writing, through still talking to people and training people and working with people, the material's still growing. Like there's, and I'm here in San Diego with my girlfriend, and we've been quarantined. Did I tell you, like, we were in Peru and had to cut the trip
I
short
know.
because they were shutting the borders down.
I
And
know.
so the day, and I went there for my birthday. So on my birthday, we're literally trying to escape Peru. We're in a van for almost 24 hours trying to get from one end of Peru into Bolivia in the middle of the night, going through an airport, flying through Miami, all this. And so, I'm on a plane on my birthday when I was supposed to be hiking Machu Picchu that day. And then when we got back to LA, we decided to quarantine down here in San Diego. So I've been down here for, I haven't been home in like 2-3 months.
And I'm so happy Leo can just say girlfriend, because ever since I've known him, it's like, I ain't ready. I ain't ready. I used to send pictures to Leo, my kid. He goes, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
I still don't want to see it.
Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous of my kids. Don't be jealous. They're beautiful. Okay.
Oh man, I'm super jealous because your son is definitely going to be like an Olympic track athlete, decathlon. Like the dude is a beast. I saw him golfing. I was like, come on, I can't even hit the ball that far.
Man, he hits baseballs. He hits golf ball. Like he's not even on a tee anymore. He won't. The tee is too easy for it. He'd be like, no, throw ball. I'm like, this dude's a beast, man. My son, if you haven't seen scroll through my Instagram at Michael Yo and check it out. I also want to mention, if you're just tuning in, Leo has a podcast called Before You Kill Yourself. And I remember when you were coming up with the name, we had a conversation about it because we bounced a bunch of stuff off of each other. Have you felt like that name has brought people to the show? And what do you love about taking a risk with a name like that for a podcast?
Well, I think the name has definitely drawn people to the show, and it's definitely repelled people. I mean, I get messages from people saying, the name of the podcast just sounds terrifying, like there'd be too many triggers. And then I get messages from people saying I was scared, but then when I listened to it, I realized it's something that I really needed. And I get messages from people saying how it saved their life. So the whole point is that it's specifically about suicide prevention, and because there's such a huge stigma around it, and where people don't even want to talk about it, and there's a shame. And I wanted a name that would get people's attention, and I knew it would be a little controversial, but I also came up with the name because people who do end their lives, it's such a small window between stimulus and response, between wanting to live and wanting to end your life. And so, it's like, before you kill yourself, go do the laundry. Before you kill yourself, crank out 20 burpees. Before you kill yourself, call a friend, send out some emails. Like, that's how small the window is. That's how fragile the space between life and death is for a lot of people. There's so many messages where you'll hear about someone who attempted, to end their life, and they said, like, if somebody had just called me or had just hugged me, I wouldn't have done it. So that's how fragile it is. So I want my podcast to be that. I want it to be that hug. I want it to be that phone call. I want to be that friend. I want it to be that neighbor that's says hello, that waves hi, to ask you how you're doing in the morning. So I understand that the title would be controversial, but there was definitely a lot of thought put into it. Like you said, we definitely discussed it numerous times.
Do you feel a heavy responsibility with a name like that? Because with the Morning Yo, there's no responsibility. I just come on and have fun. With a podcast called Before You Kill Yourself, you have a huge responsibility just because of the name, that you can't really joke around on the podcast, because you have people that are on the brink of possibly taking their life.
Well, that's how I felt in the beginning. I thought like this had to be a really serious thing, and what I found is it doesn't have to be. Like, and that's the thing that and that's the whole part of the purpose behind the podcast is I want to show people we can talk about suicidality, we can talk about feeling lonely, we can talk about feeling like a burden, feeling hopeless, and have some levity to it. It doesn't have to be weighty. It doesn't have to be morose. It doesn't have to be sad. It doesn't have to be angry. It doesn't have to be hurtful. It can be empowering. It could be uplifting. It can be energetic. It can be funny. And when we blend those two things together, coming from with the right intention, it works so beautifully, man. And I've had everyone from like New York Times bestsellers to researchers to professors to entertainers, and what it's really done is open a door for people that in my life who I didn't know were struggling with this. Here's Michael, here's when I go, all right, this is much bigger than what I thought it was, and this is when I knew I could blend both the seriousness of the topic and comedy. I did a show in Vegas, and I decided one show to go on stage and talk about my journey and how like I've called the 1-800 suicide number twice in my life, and I still
Like, were you
struggle.
calling it? Were you calling it because you were struggling? Because you're the type of guy that would call it for research too.
I would call it for research, but I've also called it because I was struggling. And there are times where people have called me and I told them, I was like, you don't know, you just saved my life. And it's something I've always struggled with. And I talked to my mom, and when I look back, my mom, I didn't remember this, but my mom told me when I was 9, I told her when I turned 40, I was gonna end my life. And I'm 44 now. I'm 44 now, and it's because I started taking those thoughts, those ideas, my health, my life more seriously. Like,
But what affected you at 9 years old, where you would say something like that?
I to be honest, I couldn't identify it. The thing I can pinpoint it to was I remember very early on feeling like a burden to my mom, like a financial burden. I remember from a very young age thinking that if she didn't have me and my sister, then she would be able to live like a much fuller life, a much richer life. She could travel the world. And as I've gotten older, I realized I was projecting. I was projecting my values onto my mom because I love to travel. I love to see the world. I love to explore. I don't have kids. Like there's nothing in me that wants kids. And so, when I talked to my mom a few years ago, and I asked her, I was like, what did you really want to do with your life? Because she worked 2 jobs to raise me and my sister, and she said, all I really wanted to do was have you two. All I wanted to do is be a mother. And I realized, like this whole time, I was
Yeah.
feeling like a burden. And if I had just sat down and talked to my mom and asked her questions and been more curious about who she was and her motivations and what her life was, that could have saved me
You know
years
what's
of
you know what's
therapy.
crazy is when I first met my wife. Once we had a family, I go, "What do you want to do? We're gonna have a kid." She goes, "I just want to be a mom." And like, I want, she wants our kids to have the same feeling that we had growing up, where mom was always around. And what I hate about today's society is there's other working moms that judge the moms that just want to be moms.
Right.
It's almost like a stigma where people ask you, "What's your wife do?" And you're like, "She's a mom." And I go, "Oh, that's what she does?" And it's like, "Yeah." And that's the most important job in the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like other these powerful women, like the forward thinking women, I guess you could call them. They kind of look down on women that just want to be at home and take care of a family. Like, I'm always with my wife, and I go, "Babe, if you ever want to start anything, if you ever want to do anything, just let me know and it'll be all good." She's like, "No, this is my priority. My
Yeah.
kids, our family, our life." Like, I still cherish the moments when I would come home and my mom was always there.
Mm,
Or on a Saturday
mm,
or Sunday where
mm,
my dad was working all day, my mom was there.
yeah.
And that's something nobody can ever take away from you.
It's so powerful because when that kid grows up and they start acting up or wilding out, people be the first thing people say, where were the parents? Who are your
Yes.
parents? And it's
Hmm.
like, so you can't blame it on the parents and want the parents to be at work or CEOs. Like, Sheryl Sandberg wrote this book, Lean In, where she's encouraging all women to be like, we need to be CEOs and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, okay, if you're CEOs, who's raising the kids? Like,
Yeah.
and it's like this
And
nanny
it's not,
thing.
and let's not mistake. Women are not there to,
Right.
if they want to work.
Right.
But we're
Absolutely.
saying some women don't want to do that.
Right.
Some women,
Absolutely.
their priority, I don't want your statement to come off wrong. Some women just want to be home and take care of a family. My wife, the greatest thrill she has is being home with our kids.
Yeah.
And then I come home and mess it all up. Like, that's the whole thing. But other women shouldn't dog those women.
No.
Because that's just like, I'm very lucky. My parents are still together. Her parents are still together. So we were raised that way. So we're just taking what we know and how we were raised and bringing it to our family. And I think that's what people do. We got a comment from Millie. What's Millie said? I've been home for 5 years prior, worked for 10 years as a code enforcement officer. I love being a servant to my family. I don't like the word servant, but
that's a strong word right there.
that's a strong word. But she's white, so that's cool. But like, when you're talking to black people and you say servant, it means a whole different thing.
Well, and here's how we can rephrase that. I just had a therapist on my podcast, and she said a marriage, a best marriage is between a visionary and an administrator. And I
Yes.
prefer to call the wife the administrator, the person who they handle like the day-to-day, the to-dos, the daily tasks, so to speak, and the visionary,
Or vice versa.
or vice versa. And then the other person could be is the big picture thinker. But I think that you have to be aware of where you fall in. Are you the visionary, the big picture thinker, or the administrator? And to respect each other's roles and not think that your role is better than the other person's role.
Dale, my friend Dale has one more question for you. Are you closer now to your mom, Mr. Flowers, after the conversation you shared with her at that time after carrying all that weight?
We are best friends, and my girlfriend, because I'll call my mom, put her on speakerphone, and my girl will be around, and she loves the conversations that me and my mom has. Like, there's like, I talk to her about everything. Now, I grew up kind of like, I think like most guys growing up, we don't really talk to our moms. Like, our mom is this person who makes our lunch and is there to give you some advice here and there. Like, but pretty much you're in your head or you're with your boys. But now I call my mom almost every day, and just she calls me and say, I just want to hear your voice, and there's nothing better to me to hear my mom laugh. Like, it's the best sound in the world to hear my mom laugh. So yeah, we are best friends now, and it took us a while to get there. But yeah, I'm so glad we had the conversation. Great question.
Millie is writing servant meant in biblical terms, not in slave terms. That's what she's trying to say. Millie, we love you. And then she hits me again and goes, I'm Latina, not white. It's hilarious. If you guys want to get in a comment, question, anything you want to ask, just hit us. If you're watching YouTube Live or Facebook Live, just leave it in the comment bar. I do want to bring up a couple of things. I'm on Joe Rogan's podcast today. Make sure you check that out. But I did learn something very interesting that I didn't know, because we were talking about Trump, and I did a Southern drawl. I was like, hey, how y'all doing? And he goes, you know where that comes from?
Uh-oh.
You're very smart. Do you know where the slow Southern drawl comes from?
I would assume it was because of a lot of Europeans started off
not
in
at
the
all.
South. Not at all.
Hookworms.
Hookworms.
So this is very interesting. If you're on a computer, Google this. It's something that blew my mind. Like, here's the thing about Joe Rogan.
Where you at, yo? I don't see you.
Oh, you don't see me?
No, you didn't split the screen.
Oh, I took myself off. My bad. Here I am. So it's hookworms. The thing interesting about being on Joe Rogan's podcast is he interviews everybody. So he's so educated in a certain term on everything. And I've never been on a podcast where I feel so dumb, because you don't know, because every day he's gaining more knowledge on something. So he's talking about stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. So he goes, that Southern draw came from hookworms. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, back in the day in these in the South, they didn't wear shoes. So hookworms would get into their system through feet. And what that did was attack the brain, it attacks the body, and it made them dumber. And that's why they say people from the South have a slow they're lazy, the laziness in their voice. Hookworms caused that and created generations of people that had that slow Southern drawl because they didn't wear shoes. It's so crazy. So it
Wow.
actually, and they said these hookworms actually made them dumb because it slowed down the process of thinking. And then they talk normally, and then it became slower and slower and
Slower and
slower.
slower.
And then if you didn't have the hookworms, you just learned from these people. So you were like, this is the way I'm supposed to talk, and I'm normal. So it's so interesting, man.
Man, I thought
Like,
it was the Mountain Dew that made them dumb.
no, that fucked up their teeth. That's what
Oh
the Mountain
yeah.
Dew did.
Well,
Yeah.
his moms were putting that in their babies' bottles because Mountain Dew went in there and was like, "Yo, this Mountain Dew is good for you." And so that's why like so many, especially like in West Virginia, you got so many people, so many of those Southerners over there are missing teeth because the companies encourage the moms to feed it to their babies instead of breast milk, and so you got
Oh
all these.
yeah.
Yeah, you got
But
that
here's
Mountain
the
Dew mouth. Google Mountain Dew mouth.
it's
Oh
terrible.
man.
Here's the thing that blows me away is we listen to today's society more than ever, especially with Trump being president. People believe things that are absolute lies. And I don't care what side of the politics you are. They're lies because they can put clips beside each other and I'm not just talking about the president, I'm talking to any politician because they do it to both sides. A guy says something, and then a couple of years or the next day he says something different. They put the clips side by side, and then a person can look at that and goes, no, that other clip is fake. Like, we're in a world right now where it's so ridiculous. Like, I was talking to Joe about this corona thing, and Joe really believes it's all about immunity. If your immunity is strong, because he said after we broke it down, I did 4 shows in Vegas. Did 4 shows in New York, stayed Sunday, did Wendy Williams Monday, flew back that night, landed at 1 a.m., got up at 6 a.m., drove to Vegas, hung out all day, came back, and then had 3 auditions. So your immune system was messed up. That's why I got you. He goes, Joe's thing is you got to do your vitamins, you got to do your immunity boost, you got to do all that because nobody's talking about that. But him and his doctor, the doctor he uses, says they need to be pushing more immunity because if you have strong immunity, I do have strong immunity. It was just worn down because when you travel, it just breaks you down.
Tears you up, man. It's so true. Every morning I have a 6 green smoothie drink and with ginger lemon. It has dandelion green, spinach, kale, spirulina, arugula, and then a rainbow Swiss chard, and then apple, bananas,
What's
blueberries.
the name of the mix?
I mean, no, these are actual vegetables. Like me and my girl, we go to the farmers market every weekend,
Oh,
and we
you cut
get
it up and
all
put
the
it in. Okay.
yeah. I cut it up. I cut it up, man, and I have like videos on my Instagram, Leo Flowers 2000, where like I'm blending this stuff up every morning because through your dark leafy greens, that's where you get all most of your vitamins and nutrients. And then I'm murdering. Like we were just in Peru, and the thing I learned is these people in Peru, they live to be 100 years old. They have a round body type, so that's crazy to me. And the women's hair doesn't go black until they're in their like 60s or 70s. Like
Black or gray?
Gray. So
Okay.
like these women are like reaching their like 60s and 70s. And me and my girl were like, I don't see any women with gray hair. And these were like older women. And we were
So
like,
what is
yeah.
it? So
It's
was
the
it?
quinoa, it's the corn, and it's the potatoes. That's their primary dish.
But
And
but
we really
are they a culture though? Because I read a lot about this too, where most cultures that live a long time, they eat very small meals. It's not
oh,
the big massive meals we eat. It's very small and it's throughout the day, but they're small meals. Was that the same in Peru?
Yeah, it's definitely a lifestyle thing, right? Because they are literally eating what they grow. Like they plant, they'll plant a potato in the morning, right? And then the sun will cook it, and then they'll go plant other potatoes. By the time they're done planting all the potatoes, the potatoes that they planted early are cooked and ready to be eaten. So they're literally like working for their food. They're getting that physical labor. They're outside. They're the vitamin D. A lot of people are pushing vitamin D right now in terms of
Yeah,
helping to fight off this the COVID. My mom had
and
COVID.
and
I don't know
Clorox,
if and Clorox, right? Disinfectant.
bleach.
You got that bleach. So
Your mom had COVID.
my
Yeah, I heard
mom
about
had
that.
COVID, and unfortunately, it didn't, and she didn't have to go to the hospital. But it took her out for about a week, and now she's recovering. And but I'm telling you, man, lemon water, get your dark leafy greens in, get your quinoa and your potatoes, get organic potatoes. Don't get the russet potatoes. There are no nutrients in those. But you gotta eat whole foods, and that'll fill you up. People buying paper towels, you should be buying like beans. Beans have fiber, it'll fill you up, and it's cheaper. Like that's the stuff because like the price of meat's gonna go up because
Yeah,
of the COVID and
I got to be
the
honest with
farmers are
you.
taking out. Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. Ever since this whole thing hit, I've not. I eat turkey and that's it now. Like I used to be a steak guy and all that,
Mm,
but I
mm.
feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
After going through what I went through, I'm watching what I eat. I've always watched what I eat, but now it's even more.
Yeah, I know
I'm
you're on that matcha now, right? You drinking that
oh,
matcha
I
powder?
just finished my matcha. I just see the green in there. I just finished the matcha.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, hold on. I want to show you. Oh, it's but I put the matcha in, but I put this layered stuff in there. Superfood, so good. And
You
so
talking about layered? You talking about the surfer? You
yeah,
said
yeah,
what's
large
in
or
it?
layered. I don't, hold on. Let me get it real quick. Let me get it. I'll be right back.
Yo,
But it's
while Yo's going out, impossible dreams. To dream. That's what I was listening to this morning too. I love like inspirational stuff as I did my six sun salutations. To dream the
so
impossible dream.
so for everybody watching, this is what actually Rogan got me on this, but it's so good. Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me expand my. So this is a layered superfood. It says it has coconut milk powder, organic coconut sugar, organic extra virgin coconut. It's basically this superfood. That's what I'm getting from it. I mean, let's see what else it has in it. I mean, it's all coconut stuff. Contain tree nuts, coconut. Yeah, I guess it's just a coconut blend, but it kind of like, it cleans you out. It's really good. I like it a lot.
So it's kind of like you making like a bulletproof tea instead of a
Yes.
bulletproof coffee, right? Because
Yeah.
it's basically the MCT is like a branched chain amino acid, but it's derived from like I think coconut. Don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
sounds like something similar. Yeah.
so what's in the news that's on your mind? Like, what have you and your
I
girl
have to be honest. I don't watch the news because of the
really?
quarantine. I was a news junkie before the
It makes you mad.
quarantine. It makes me not mad. Is a under like I'm livid. I get outraged when I watch the news. Like the other day, my girl wanted to watch a documentary about Wells Fargo Bank. Like how they're like stealing money from people, blah blah blah. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't watch that because I'm gonna get mad and then I can't protest. There's nothing I
Yeah.
like. All I'm
Nothing
gonna
you
do
can
like
do.
just walk around the kitchen with a sign. Like I'm not. Listen, I've been watching. I watched the Big Bird documentary. I
Was that
watched.
good?
It was, dude, incredible.
The
The
Big
Big
Bird
Bird. I forget. It's called the Chappelle Lacey. I forget what the guy who plays Big Bird. I forget what his name
Chappelle
is.
Lacey, like the
Whatever his.
comic friendly.
I know. I'm
The
mixing up
comic we
names.
know.
It's something up in there, but Shirley, it's whatever his name is. But if you type in Big Bird documentary, it's incredible. I watched the Betty White. I'm watching only inspirational stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to feel good. I want the exact opposite of all this fear mongering and anger inducing.
Yeah, I
news.
do notice. I do notice if I go a whole day without watching news, I just feel much better about the day.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
to adjust for it, I read, you were asking me the other day, like what books to read. So I'm reading more historical books like Genghis Khan.
I started that one.
I'm listening to George Washington's bio right now. So I like to get into the history of things to give me context for because history repeats itself. Whatever's happening today happened 1,000 years ago. So in some way, I am getting the news.
So I've been for anybody watching too, if you have any suggestions on TV shows, because me and my wife have come to a point where we need something to watch. We just finished Little Fires Everywhere with Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon. Did you see that, Leo?
No, I haven't seen it, but I heard it's incredible.
It's good. It's good. Me and my wife had a big problem with it. I don't want to give anything away, but it was great till something happened, and then I'm like, what? One of those things that you're watching this is just my opinion and my wife's opinion, but you're watching something and then you go, why they got to do that? That messed up the whole show because that makes no sense at all.
Well, that's how people felt about Game of Thrones. I remember, people who really aren't into the fantasy sci-fi, and they were watching the first couple episodes, like, yeah, it was great until a dragon appeared, and I was like, nope. So it's
no, but the dragons were dope, man. Come on now, don't give. But that was a fantasy show. If you're watching that show and don't want fantasy, that's ridiculous. This show was so good till something happened. And then you're like, it's like Dexter. Like I was in every season on Dexter. And then at the end, he becomes a lumberjack. I'm like, really?
Oh, man, really? I didn't even know. I was just about to watch that. Damn it.
Whatever. Well, that's your bad. You waited way too long. Hold on. Millie's hitting us up. Hey, Leo, hopefully I will be taking a trip to Chicago within the next 2 weeks. Can you recommend a pizza joint? One that you love. I had this question before. All the good health talk. LOL.
All right. So Millie, it's got to be Giordano's for Leo Flowers. And the reason I love it is because it was a few blocks away from our house. Deep dish. I mean, all the deep dish pizza in Chicago is going to be great. But this one, it resonates with me because every paycheck, my mom would take me and my sister to Giordano's. And we could get whatever we wanted. And I would always just order the same thing every time I went. So Giordano's pizza, pepperoni, deep dish pepperoni, every time. Like you can't. Tell you, go ahead.
I don't like deep dish because one slice fills you up. That doesn't make me happy. Like you're always left with a half a pizza. It's not good. There's so much bread in it. I don't dig it at all.
Oh my God, I love it. I hate the thin slice where like you got to fold it and you got to catch it and it's like sliding off. Like that they just look sloppy to me. It's too much work. With the deep dish, you get you and 5 of your other friends because there's always 6 slices, and you each get a slice and get your little knife and your fork, and you get real polite with it.
All right. So since you don't watch the news, are you familiar with the Ahmaud case then?
I actually haven't even really looked at that. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not familiar with it. I'm still recovering from the hundreds of other black men who have been shot. I'm still recovering from when I was arrested in high school. I'm still I'm still trying to lick those wounds.
Leo, tell the story about you being pulled over and had to get on the ground for the cops. This is an incredible story, man. It's incredible.
My God.
It's incredible. I'm going to just put the camera on you for this one. It's incredible. This story is so insane. It's so insane.
All right. So when I first moved to LA, I was a LA hopeful, an actor, and wanted all the things. And I was broke. And so I was living out my car, and I had just bought a new car, but I hadn't switched the plates over yet. So, but it was a new car, but it wasn't a new car. You know what I'm saying? It was new to me. And so I'm driving down Sunset Boulevard by the ArcLight Theater at like 2 a.m. in the morning. And a cop car pulls up behind me, put the lights on. And I'm like, it must be a misunderstanding. I pull over, no big deal. And then as I, reach and, grab my license and everything like that, I hear roll your window down. And I was like, what? And I looked back. It went from one cop car to now there are 12 cop cars lining the street, and all the cops have their guns drawn on me. And then within a few minutes after that, there's a helicopter above me. Like, this happened so fast, yo, because that intersection that I was at, Sunset and Vine, the police station is just a few blocks away. So I didn't even see the cops get in formation. I didn't hear them. I didn't see them. I'd literally like just reached for my license, looked up, and there were 12 cop cars all lining the street. Roll down your window. And so I roll down my window, and then I reach your left arm out the window, and I reach my left arm out the window. I have no idea what's going on. Unlock your door. Now, like I said, this was a new car, but it wasn't a new car. So my driver's side door didn't open. I had to always get out on the passenger side. It was one of those. So now I'm freaked out because the cops don't know that my driver's side door doesn't open, and it's going to look like I'm resisting arrest. And I've seen the video footage of them coming in with the dogs and punching the dude in the face and yanking him out the. I was like, man, please, God, don't let this be that moment. So I take the chance and yell back, my driver's side door doesn't open. I get out on the passenger side. And I can hear a guy go, what do you say? And then I heard a woman go, I think he said his driver's side door doesn't open. He has to get out on the passengers. And so they go, stick both arms out the window. So I stick both arms out the window. They go, shimmy out the driver's side window and then sit on the edge. So I have to, luckily, like I got good mobility, and I shimmy out the window. I'm sitting on the edge of the car door, and then they go, all right, bring your left leg out the window. Keep your hands up. So I got to keep my hands up while I'm doing this. Like, I can't help myself out the car window. I got to do all this under my own strength, right? So bring your left leg out. And I bring my left leg out. Bring your right leg out. And then they say, take 10 steps to the left. And I have my back to them the whole time, right? So I take 10 steps to the left. Get on your right knee. I get on my right knee. Get on your left knee. I'm on my left knee. Put your right hand down. Put my right hand down. Put your left hand down. Put my left hand down. Lay on your face with your head turned to the left. Like, they're very specific with the instruction. Yeah. I lay down. Put your right hand behind your back. Put my right hand. Put your left hand behind your back. Left hand behind my back. They send over a cop to handcuff me, but it must have been his first day on the job because he can't figure out how to put the cuffs on. Lord. And now I'm really terrified. I'm like, now they're going to think, because there's a far distance between me and a cop.
So they could think.
Yeah. I'm like, do they think I'm like, come on, man. Like, I'm like, can I help you? Like, I'm trying to put the cuffs on. Finally, he get the cuffs on me. They pull me up. They pull me over to the side. They start going through my car. And then what it turned out to be was someone had carjacked and killed someone for a car that was similar to mine. And they thought I was that guy. And it was because like my plates didn't match because like I said, I had just got it and I didn't switch the plates over. They were like, your plates didn't match. And then the cop, the main cop, the black dude was like, we could impound your car for this, right? Because because I hadn't registered it or nothing.
Yeah, it's new. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I get that. And then there was this redheaded little short white cop next to him who clearly wanted all the power, but would never have the power because he just sucked with people. And he was like, yeah, we could take you in for this. Like, he's literally saying it like that. He's right next to him. Yeah, he's the Flavor Flav, because the main cop is a 6'5" black dude with an afro. He ain't even got a gun. Like, he's cool as could be, right? And then he's like, we could, he said, and then the cop said to me, the black cop said to me with a straight face, he goes, if you were in Long Beach, they would have shot you, right? And I was like, yeah. And then the white cop. I think because Long Beach was hot at that time. Snoop Dogg talked about Long Beach. Like, Long Beach was gangster at this time, right? And the white cop was like, yeah, you would have got shot. And I swear to God, people, this is not for, I'm not trying to play this up. Not trying to this is literally the conversation between the cops. And then a black cop said to me again, he goes, no, he like looked me right in my eye. He made sure that there was strong eye contact. He was like, listen, if you were in Long Beach, they would have shot you. You know that, right? And I was like, yeah, I know that. And he handed me my license and he let me go. And I was just like, dude, I was just shocked. So when people go, hey, have you read up on this Ahmad? What, I can't even say the guy's name. No, because I'm still like just even telling that story and for a cop to say that to me in front of other, like he didn't whisper that, you know what I'm saying? It was a full on like, listen, this is what they do in Long Beach, and you got lucky, and you should be thankful. And not like, oh, sorry for the
do you think that was a way to stop you from sending in a complaint? Or was this more of a father moment? Like, yo, you're a black man, I'm a black man, you could have been killed tonight.
Now, you know what? It really felt like the second. It really felt like he was like, he's like, it really felt like, I don't know what you're going through. I don't understand, why you don't have all this together, but get it together because, we're losing you guys.
Yeah.
To cops.
No, yeah. No, it's true.
No, yeah, it felt heartfelt. It felt like he was like he was like looking out for me. Like, you don't want to hang out. It's almost like your dad saying you don't want to hang out with those kids over there. Like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Don't go to Long Beach.
Yeah.
Ever. That's been it. All right, dude, we've gone way over our time. My time usually is 30 minutes, but we've gone like almost 47 minutes. So tell everybody how they can find you.
If you go to leoflowers.com or go to thrivewithleo.com, go to thrivewithleo.com for one-on-one coaching with yours truly. Check out my podcast, Before You Kill Yourself. It's on iTunes, it's on Stitcher, it's on Spotify, it's on all the things. And like I said, even though we're talking about suicide prevention, we're talking about Life 360. The most recent episode has Cynthia Sass, and she's a dietitian for professional athletes. And so she's talking about nutrition and food. And so when we're talking about mental health, we're talking about physical health, spiritual health, financial health, all those things. So we're covering everything 360 on a podcast. So check it out, Before You Kill Yourself, and go to thrivewithleo.com for one-on-one coaching with yours.
Okay. All right, Leo, thank you so much for all you guys watching Morning Yo. I appreciate you. Please share it. This thing is growing, and we appreciate you so much. Check me out on Joe Rogan and also subscribe to my podcast as well. Love you, bro. I'll see you soon.
I appreciate you, brother. Peace.
Later.